So if you haven't seen it yet, the Florida Project is out in limited theaters across the country. I recently saw it locally here at the Enzian Theater, and I fell in love with this film. It's getting universal critical praise, and right now we have one of the co-writers of the film, Chris Bergoch, with us.
Hey,
Chris,
thanks. Thank
nice
you.
to meet you. So,
thank you. You too.
I want to talk about this because it was all shot locally here in the 192 corridor, just right outside of Walt Disney World, and that's where it takes place. So, where did the idea for this film first come in?
Yeah, the idea, you know, I would come down to the Disney World Resort, Walt Disney World Resort, since I was 4. But my mom actually, we lived in New Jersey. My mom actually relocated to Kissimmee about 10 years ago. So I would come down here, borrow her car, go to the parks, and drive down 192 back and forth. One day at a red light, I remember seeing a bunch of children that didn't look like tourist children playing in one of the motels down closer to the far end.
Oh, yes.
Way past Magic Castle. And they didn't look like tourists, and I didn't really think anything of it. But then, you know, going back and forth after noticing one bunch of kids, I noticed more kids at another motel, and then in another, and another, playing wiffle ball, playing hide and seek. And I started searching, doing some Google searches, and found out about this problem referred to as America's Hidden Homeless that's happening everywhere. But something about it happening in the shadow of the most magical place on earth kind of tugged on my heartstrings. And so I've worked with Sean Baker for many years now, since we met at NYU. And I called him and I said, you know, I think there's a story to be found here about through the point of view of these children.
In the story, it is great. And how much research went into properly portraying this section of 192?
Well, yeah, research for us is everything. Mm-hmm. We started researching it, like I said, in 2011, but we were working on a film called Starlet. It's on Netflix, and after Starlet, we thought this would be the next film, but it was very hard to get people interested in this idea. Maybe we weren't doing a good job pitching it, I don't know, but people were just sort of, you know, their eyes were wandering, what else you got, what else you got. And so then we got segued into another film called Tangerine, which was much more of a small micro budget, and then that opened doors for financiers to step in and help us out with this one. We were finally able to tell this story, and that's when the research really kicked in. And so for 2 years leading up to the shoot, we would take these research trips, Sean and myself and some of the producers, Sing Sao, and who, by the way, plays Mama San, and she's in this film as the wholesaler who sells the perfume to them. And we would just meet with locals. We would meet with people living at the motels, or motel managers, or anyone that would sit down and talk to us on and off for about 2 years.
You filmed it in the summer of 2016, correct?
Yes, we started last June 2016, July and August, the most humid time here.
I know, what a great time.
We needed to do it when the kids were out of school.
Right, of course. The motels featured, how did you come about filming? Was Magic Castle always the plan to film there?
It was, because that's the thing with this movie. One of the missions was that, you know, before we even had a narrative thread or a story, you know, we knew a couple of things. We knew that this was going to be told through the children's point of view. We knew it was going to revolve around a girl and her and a single mom, borrowing from the Disney tropes of just the single parents that you see in lots of Disney films. And we knew that they were going to find their own magic outside the parks, and we were going to draw parallels to the parks. And so, you know, you had to have it take place in their version of the Magic Kingdom, which is they're living in their own castle. And so to them, that's pretty awesome. And
I definitely picked up watching the film those parallels, like they're out seeing cows, and that's kind of their Kilimanjaro.
Exactly. Yeah. Awesome that you got that. And yeah, they go to these abandoned condos that are now gone, and that's their haunted mansion. And we had more. We had so many, because, like I said, I joke that I've been location scouting this movie since I was 4. And there are places like Orange World I needed in this movie. The first time I ever came down here, I stayed in what's a Travelodge now, I think, right behind Orange World. So there were places like that, the Wizard gift shop, and there were more. We had a pirate sequence, because there was that old golf, a mini golf that was knocked down, and there were some remnants of it for a while, and that was going to be sort of a Pirates play sequence. And then, of course, the big one that still breaks my heart when I watch this movie that we don't get to see. There was going to be this beautiful sequence in Splendid China, which, as you know, was sitting there for years, rotting away, and time was just like battle damaging it, and it was so awesome. So Sean and I, on one of the research trips, snuck in there, and we're taking all these locations, and we were actually planning out what the shots would be, because they might not have been able to afford, you know, even a one-day non-park hopper price ticket to go into the parks, but they can make their own magic, doing their own made-up rides in Splendid China ruins. And then Jimmy Buffett came in with his bulldozers. I blame Jimmy Buffett for that.
I live in a neighborhood right next to Splendid China, so
oh, you do?
I would actually kind of go, you know.
Wasn't it amazing in there?
It was so cool.
The Great Wall was still standing up until the very end. And then the last one that I'm sad about was Xanadu, Home of the Future. Even though that's gone for years now.
They still had the sign up for a while.
They had the sign, and that shows you how far the research for this goes back, because I still have location scouting pictures of us going in there, and it was it was summing up the whole movie in one location, because it was this home of the future, and back when it opened, I guess in the 80s, it was this revolution, you know, I couldn't wait to live like that. And now, cut to present day, there's all these squatters and homeless living in there, and it was kind of like a refuge for that. So it was a very, very interesting juxtaposition.
I want to quickly touch about, you're talking about those condos. Those colorful condos used to be there on 192 by Seven Dwarfs Lane. In the film, you know, not to spoil a little bit, but one catches on fire, and
yes.
you actually lit it on fire for the film.
We did, yeah, and that was very, very well played. I mean, we had you know, professionals there, Hollywood professionals executing this fire. And we had firefighters standing by. We didn't have carte blanche to burn it down, even though you think we would, because they were on their last legs anyway. But we were told that we could not burn the roof. So it had to be, the fire had to actually be rigged in a way where the roof wouldn't be compromised. Which is interesting, because then they wound up bulldozing them down anyway this year. But it's fun. Now when I drive past there, I just pretend that it's just like in the movie, the kids burned it down.
So let's talk a little bit about the cast of this film. First off, you got Willem Dafoe in there, and probably one of my favorite performances by him. He's just,
wow, cool.
He's so, you know, charming, and yet, you know, he's strict. It's just such a great role for him. How'd you go? Did he audition, or did you approach him for that?
Oh yeah, he another reason why Tangerine opened these doors. I think he was a fan of Tangerine, and Sean's agency set that up, and they had a meeting. And yeah, you know, the thing about it was we wanted to write a role for him when we found out that he was interested in working with us. That just, let's show him in a way that we've never seen him before. He's so great at playing creepy bad guys and you know, Green Goblin and that kind of thing. But we wanted to do something different with him, and so it's cool that, I guess, people are responding well to his performance. Oh yeah, the scenes, like especially with him and Mooney, I just love their dynamic together, because it's stern, but yet he definitely cares about this little kid. Yeah, and that's the thing. I think Bobby, his backstory is probably a lot similar to many of the managers that we spoke with in this area, where maybe when Bobby got this job, he was just looking to be a motel manager. He didn't know he was going to become this surrogate father figure to these families, and he kind of fell into this situation that he might not have been even prepared for himself. And you know, you got Willem Dafoe in the movie, but I feel the true stars of this film are the kids, and these kids are just fantastic. Where did you find them? Oh yeah, we're so lucky to have found them. I mean, little Brooklyn here, Brooklyn Prince, who plays Mooney, is actually a local, and she was an actor in the system. She'd done a few movies locally in Florida, and we casted this film in a variety of ways. Jancy, played by Valeria Cotto, was not, she's a first-time actor who Sean discovered in Target on 192 when he was shopping one night, and just went up to her mom, Eve, and said, we're doing auditions, would you like to? Because we were trying to find any children to come in and audition for this movie as we could, because it was very difficult to find kids who could memorize lines and act and understand the scenes, but also be able to use their own imaginations in the role and just actually play. And we would be in the auditions, and we were auditioning in the motels and having kids come and just having these exercises with them. So they would do like rehearsed stuff, and then we would just say like, okay, who's your favorite Disney princess and why? And this one girl broke our hearts. We thought this one girl would have the part as Mooney, because she was just saying that she felt like her favorite was Rapunzel, and we asked her why, and then she said like, well, I don't have any friends, and I just feel really lonely and by myself all the time. And we were like tearing up in the room. But you know, for a variety of reasons, she might be great at improv, but then maybe not so great at memorizing lines. And so Brooklyn and Valeria and Christopher had the best of both. They could do it all. So with the kids, obviously, you know, memorizing lines, doing the script, was there any room for them to just be their own and improv and just be natural? Yeah, we like to mix it up. I mean, they definitely had to learn their lines. We had a 102-page script, and we had an acting coach called Samantha Kwan that was always making it like summer camp, so in between takes, she was making it really fun. And if they don't memorize their lines, then it would be all about twerking, I think, or farting. That was big. They were big on twerking last time. They just wanted to dance and twerk. And no, so they know their lines, but then yet they can make it their own. I think if we asked 6-year-olds to stick word for word like an Aaron Sorkin script, it would be very stilted and not natural. And so they have to be able to stray and make it their own. And then you have scenes in this movie, like for instance, this is not really a spoilery scene to talk about. There's a sequence where Haley, the mom, takes Mooney, her daughter, to buy some wholesale perfume, and then they try to sell it to one of the more expensive hotels on 192 than their hotel. And we do it candid camera style. And so we just set up the camera, and they have some lines that we've written for them in their head, but they go up to real people and try to actually sell the perfume. And then we have to go chase the real people and get the release form and explain to them. And most people are very excited to sign it and be in a movie.
Right.
Once or twice you get people that aren't comfortable with it. But that's always fun to do too.
Okay, I love that, and I loved watching this locally because since it is filmed locally, a lot of the people in the audience are picking up on locations and references. It was always really fun, especially there's a scene where Haley and her friend are saying, "We're gonna go to OBT." You hear the audience going, "Oh, we know what that means."
Yeah, that's great, and that's the thing. I appreciate that because we don't really like spelling anything out, and some people don't like that. Some people want to be spoon-fed more, but people could Google search what OBT means. Orange Blossom Trail. They'll find out.
Exactly. And speaking quickly on Haley, because she was cast through Instagram, I hear.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Yeah, we were thinking of for a while when we wrote the film, we were always thinking it was going to be some sort of stunt casting, and we would get a former Musketeer to play the mom. Oh. And it would be kind of meta and kind of cool tying in to the location of the film. But then Sean was right. Director Sean Baker kind of felt strongly that for the mom, we kind of needed a fresh face for this movie to work, or else people would just think of it as, name someone, Britney, for example. Like it would become the Britney movie. And so we didn't really know exactly who would play Haley, and then Sean stumbled upon her one night on Instagram, and the videos were making us laugh, and the rest is history. Bria is great.
Yeah, the performances all around are just excellent, and well-deserving of all the praise, and I definitely foresee a lot of awards, hopefully, in the future. And I know congrats on some of the awards you already have received as well.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I'm still pinching, truthfully, that's all great, but the fact that people could just get to see this movie on a big screen is the dream come true for me, because this was one of those ones where it was like 5 years of no's, and never thinking that we'd be able to even make this movie. So the fact that it actually exists and people could see it is just still pretty incredible. I
know locally here it's still playing at the NZ, and it got extended for another week, so you still have a chance if you're local to check that out. But so what's the future plans for release of this film?
Well, yeah, every week it's called a platform release, and A24 has been great, the distributor, and I think this week, what is this, November 3rd we're up to? 180 something screens, which is still relatively small compared to what Thor is going to be in this weekend.
Right.
But it's still good for sort of counter programming and people to find a smaller film. Once they've seen Thor a couple of times, maybe they can come over to Florida.
Oh, definitely.
Once they go to Asgard, they can go to Florida.
Any in the foreseeable future for home video, for digital or Blu-ray?
Oh, there'll definitely be a Blu-ray. We're actually working on a little 20-minute behind-the-scenes type thing right now. Just this morning, watched a cut of that. It's fun. There'll be some good footage because everybody's asking, how do these kids, act so naturally? And people almost think it's a documentary, and it's actually a compliment to all of us, I think. It's a compliment to the writing. We work so hard to make this dialogue seem natural, and also the performers are so, even though they were 6, Brooklyn was so professional. It blows our minds. There's this one scene at the end where it gets very emotional, and Valeria, who plays Jancy, and Brooklyn, they had become friends. And they were sort of like Valeria wanted to know if there was going to be a sleepover, if they were going to hang out at the parks this weekend, and Brooklyn was just like, Valeria, just give me a minute, because I have to concentrate. I need to cry right now, and just we could talk later. And it was like incredible that they're only 6 and they knew. And
that's not to spoil it, but that is like that leaves you heartbroken. But at the same time, that ending is also kind of, not spoiling it, up for interpretation.
Oh yeah, definitely. We wanted it to be, the script changed a lot in 5 years and it evolved a lot, but the ending never did, and we always knew the movie had to go there, and we weren't even sure if we were going to be able to pull off the ending. You'll know what I mean if you see this movie. But without even knowing, it was kind of a leap of faith. We always wrote it to end there because it was a very important reason, and it is that sort of open interpretation of it might not be a literal ending.
Right. And once you're done filming this, I hear the wrap party. You took the kids somewhere special.
We did. Well, yeah. I mean, we're here. We're shooting right outside of the most magical place on earth. Where else are you going to have a wrap party? And this was my kind of wrap party because I've worked on other movies where you go to some boring bar or something like that. That's no fun. This was like seeing parades with the kids and just going on. Their favorite is going on Little Mermaid, Ariel's Undersea Voyages. It's different names between California Adventure.
Ariel's Undersea Adventure here.
Is here.
And
Yeah.
Voyage of
Little Mermaid there.
Voyage of Little Mermaid is the show at Hollywood Studios.
Oh, right. Okay. Which
I forget. Yeah.
what's it called? A California Adventure?
I don't remember.
Oh, shame on me.
I know.
Shame
on me too.
I haven't had my coffee, but yeah. So that was really fun going on it with them.
Let's geek out a little bit here. Now
Yeah.
we're talking about Disney. So what is your favorite park to go to and visit?
Oh, by far, Tokyo Disney Sea.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I have been to all of them, and are you talking about worldwide or just here? Let's keep it here.
We'll talk both.
Okay.
Worldwide, you like Tokyo Disney, but what about here locally?
Oh God, I mean, how do you answer that? That's like that's
All of Walt Disney World. Yeah.
They're four-way tie. They all offer something, especially now with Pandora. They all offer something amazingly magical that you can't experience anywhere else. I mean, do I say Magic Kingdom because that's the original here? Or do I say Epcot because I have so much nostalgia there? But then maybe you don't say Epcot because of what's happening. And you go to Epcot and it's almost like when I go to Epcot, even though I still love it, but it's funny because I used to, as a kid, I would love Future World more than World Showcase. Now I feel like I gravitate more to World Showcase. And
Right.
it's been preserved more to what it always has been. And Future World is definitely changing more. And like, I'm not against the Guardians of the Galaxy attraction coming here, but I just don't know if I wish it could have been at Studios, even though Studios has so much going on already. I just felt like I wish that an energy pavilion could have been preserved and just upgraded somehow.
Agree. I definitely do agree with that, and I hope that they're successful. I hope it blows us all
Sure,
away.
yes.
It reminds me of when they announced Pandora. A lot of people were like, "Oh, I wish it'd be at Studios. It's a movie. It doesn't belong in Animal Kingdom."
Right, right.
But then it opened up. It's like, oh, it actually fits pretty well
Yeah,
here. So
yeah.
I'm hoping that maybe they're able to pull that off with Epcot.
Yeah, I always like to stay positive. My dream for Epcot, and I'm sure there's a lot of people's dream, you probably share the same dream, and I've actually talked to Tony Baxter about this himself. What's to stop them besides money? To just upgrade, give us the original Journey into Imagination, but with state-of-the-art audio animatronics, and just take the original audio, the original source audio, and just remaster it and digitize it, and just create an upgraded version, a reboot of the original. With the Billy Barty voice and everything, and bring Dreamfinder back outside with Figment. Why not?
I know, exactly. I mean, Dreamfinder, they use him so much in merchandise these days. You'd think that they would want to try and bring him back into the park in some way.
I agree. He's such a cult, and the comic books did pretty well, so I'm not sure what's to stop them.
Exactly. Well, Chris, thank you again so much for coming in and talking to us. The Flora Project is out in limited theaters right now. Keep an eye out. Follow them on Twitter. What's the Twitter account?
Oh, so the Twitter is @Florida Project and @Chris Bergoch and Sean Baker, the director, @Little Film.
Awesome. So keep an eye out. Go see this film if it's playing near you. It's excellent.
Thank you.